Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Kim. Welcome back to the 1996 Project. I want to apologize. I'm a little late on this one, but it is what it is. I got all the movies watched, and now I'm ready to talk about them. And we kick things off with an animated one to a sequel to a movie that I have actually never seen. It's All Dogs Go to Heaven 2.
Itchy, you're out of breath and the fun hasn't even started yet.
All Dogs Go to Heaven 2.
All Dogs Go to Heaven 2 was directed by Larry Leaker? Larry Leaker and Paul Sabala, and it is the sequel to All Dogs Go to Heaven. I have not seen All Dogs Go to Heaven. I know, I'm sorry, I will get around to it one day. But it has the voices of Charlie Sheen, Dom DeLuise, Sheena Easton, and more. And it picks up on Charlie and Itchy, who are now in heaven, but they must return to Earth when the horn of the angel Gabriel is stolen, well, attempted to be stolen, and gets lost in San Francisco. Was there a thing in the mid-90s to have sequels take place in San Francisco? I'm asking honestly. But this one was just not that good. It's not terrible, but this one was just... I have nothing really noteworthy to say other than the animation looks good in bursts. I am always a sucker for hand-drawn animation, but I just did not care for how some of it looked. Like I said, good animation in bursts, but ultimately just there were some parts where I'm like, that could have been a little polished, I'm just saying. And then there's the story of Charlie not wanting to be in heaven anymore because he misses Earth. Figure heaven will be a little better than Earth, but I don't know. It's a very similar story. If you've seen one movie, you know exactly where it's headed. That is my point. And I don't really have a ton to say on this one. This movie's pretty forgettable. It's not bad. It's watchable, I guess, but it definitely feels like they were trying to make some money off of this. I don't know if they did necessarily, but that seemed like the intent. But now let's take that big ol' hard left and talk about an indie drama called Denise Calls Up.
Do I know you?
Just my luck, better roll back over.
Barbara?
Denise Calls Up was directed by Hal Salwin, and it starred Liev Schreiber, Caroline Feeney, and Tim Daly, among others. And it tells the story of a group of friends who, at least in the movie, communicate to each other primarily through phone calls. Like, one of the characters even has one of those big old, like, not wireless, but one of those headphones where you pull down the thing and you talk into the remote through there. Liev Schreiber has a big old, like, speaker phone looking thing. So everyone says, like, no one talks to each other anymore. It's all just text. Well, this movie presses X to doubt because this is all phone calls. And honestly, by God, they tried. That's about my feelings on it. By God, they tried, because this has admittedly a very cool concept. It's a nice story. It's about these people being friends with each other, one of whom tries to match one character with the other, and one having to overcome varying degrees of social anxiety. I liked the spirit of that, but this felt like it needed to be, like, longer. Like, the movie's 80 minutes long, and I'm not going to complain about a movie that's that short, but I swear, like, I feel like this was supposed to be longer, but it got severely cut down, maybe due to budget reasons, who knows. But I feel like there was just something missing here, like a lot of things missing here. Like, it's a good idea. I like the performances here as a whole. Liev Schreiber's particularly good, but it just feels like they left money on the table. And this is an indie film. I want to get that on record. Like, I understand this is indie. It's small budget, so you got to be cognizant of that. And for a small budget indie in the mid-90s, they made a lot with a little, so I give them credit there. But this was ultimately just kind of there for me. It's pretty forgettable. Cool concept, good performances, but nothing more beyond that. But we're sticking in the realm of drama, and a drama with a much bigger cast and presumably a bigger budget. It's a family thing.
A family thing.
I ain't gonna bite you.
I don't want you either.
Family Thing was directed by Richard Pierce, who had previously directed Steve Martin in Leap of Faith. This movie was co-written by Billy Bob Thornton. Yes, the Billy Bob Thornton that you know from Sling Blade, Landman, bunch of things. And it starred Robert Duvall, rest in peace, and James Earl Jones, rest in peace. It tells the story of Earl Pilcher, played by Robert Duvall, who learns from his now deceased mother that his mother is not his mother. Through a series of events, he was born due to an illicit affair between his father and their maid, who was African American. So he does a pilgrimage of sorts to Chicago to meet his long-lost and never-before-met brother named Ray Murdoch, played by James Earl Jones. The two meet, and things start off icy, but ultimately they warm up to each other. It's sad to me nowadays that Robert Duvall has passed away. Like, Robert Duvall was just awesome in everything that he was in, everything that I've ever seen him in. And he was the best part of this movie. I feel like his character was just a simple guy. He has a shop in the middle of Arkansas. He doesn't bother anyone. He has his family who he bickers with, but ultimately loves. His heart is in the right place. And then he gets this news, and it just shakes his world to his core. And he's like, I got to meet this Ray Murdoch guy. I have to know what he's like. And so the movie is just this relationship and seeing where it goes. James Earl Jones is great as well. I feel like because of the fact that he was Darth Vader, there was just a lot of people who just painted him as Darth Vader and nothing more. But he was generally great in everything that he was in, like Sandlot, Coming to America. I randomly came across a clip on Instagram where he was in King Lear, and he was just amazing in that. So James Earl Jones was just outstanding. Like, he was just fantastic in everything that he was in, and he's good here. The real draw of this movie is the chemistry between Duvall and James Earl Jones. They have a lot of great scenes together. The mystery unravels of their relationship, and you just see them slowly begin to appreciate and find a sense of love, even though their relationship will pretty much always be complicated. My biggest issue is the pacing. The movie is an hour and 49 minutes, and I feel like you could have cut that down. There's a lot of story stuff that I just didn't care for that you could have easily edited out. Like, there's a big old thing with Ray Murdoch's son, played by Michael Beach, who I just did not like the character at all. And they give him a lot of stuff to do. Like, was a former football player who injured his knee. Now he is bitter. He works for the Chicago bus system. He's got 2 kids, but only sees them like once a week because of a divorce. And he was just bitter. And I'm like, I feel like they were going to go somewhere with this, but I just didn't care for that. And it just felt very tacked on, for lack of a better term. And then there were other scenes where Earl is just like, oh, my nephew's just good for nothing. But we've only had 2 scenes with your nephew, and from everything that we've seen, he's just normal. So there's just a lot of weird stuff going on there. But ultimately, when this movie is just focused on Duvall and James Earl Jones, it's great. The movie kind of reminded me of a play, and I mean that as a compliment. Plays are awesome when it's just very dialogue heavy and you got the 2 performances, the 2 mains, and they're just cooking, and you can't stop them for anything. I'm going to give this a good rating, but a high good rating. It's definitely got problems, but James Earl Jones and Robert Duvall are as good as you expect, and that's all you need to know, really. But let's close things out by taking a look from drama to comedy, and a very silly one at that. It is Sergeant Bilko.
I'm just so damn proud.
Sergeant Bilko.
It starred Steve Martin, Dan Aykroyd, Phil Hartman, rest in peace, and more. And it tells the story of Sergeant Bilko, played by Steve Martin, who is just pretty much a slacker in every sense of the word. He gets by in the Army by hook or by crook, more like the latter. He and his unit are pretty much the worst soldiers you could ever imagine, but they somehow, by some miracle and cunning, manage to stay in the Army and to have a good record. However, Lieutenant Thorne, played by Phil Hartman, has an axe to grind with Bilko and does everything possible to drum him out of the Corps or kick him out of the Army. Some Army-related drum out of the Corps saying. I like Steve Martin in most things. I like Dan Aykroyd in most things. Phil Hartman was really funny in his day. Unfortunately, this one was just kind of there for me. It made me laugh, so it's going to get a pretty positive rating, but I feel like this one was just kind of there, really. Like, Steve Martin, God bless him, is trying. Like, he's actively trying, and he has some of the funniest moments in the movie, for me personally. Just the story of how he was able to make Master Sergeant makes the movie worth it for me, because that story is so convoluted and so complicated that you just can't help but laugh at it. And just in general, like, just that story is funny, and how he gets along with everyone else in his unit is just funny to me. Phil Hartman is just great at being a cartoony villain. Like, thankfully Sergeant Bilko like wasn't making any cookies, or his wife wasn't making any cookies, or else he would have really been in trouble.
Cookies! I gotta get the recipe from Les. Put that cookie down! Now!
But I feel like there's just a lack of story here, and just isolated gags, and like just the connecting thread being Lieutenant Thorne hates all of these people. But that's fine, but we need more than that. That's my point. And just ultimately it feels just kind of there, really, especially when you consider that Sergeant Bilko is not the greatest human in the world, and we're supposed to like him and want him to win when he's kind of a bad person. But I guess that's the joke. I don't know. That whole aspect of it was weird. But I am going to give this a good rating because it did make me laugh, so it followed through on its stated objective. But this one was just kind of weird. Like, just watch Major Payne. That's a much better Army comedy. Or Stripes, now that I think about it. But I pass it off to all of you. What did you think of any of the movies I've talked about? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. My name is Ryan Cam, and I'll see you in the next one.